The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
You could be driving.
Happy Honda Days are back for the most wonderful time of the year at Team Honda. The savings are high on every new Honda. And with our Buy Here, Sell Here program, you'll get top value for your trade. Happy Honda Days from Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours in your world since the last opportunity we had to spend a little time with you roughly some 24 hours ago. Marty, if you would turn that just a tad more. Lights are washing it out. Thank you kindly, my friend. We start today's show talking about the results of yesterday's, quote, sick out by educators, some educators here in East Baton Rouge Parish, protesting COVID protocols and the shortcomings that they see in the policies implemented by the school system to ensure the safety both of students and staff. The East Baton Rouge Parish school system reporting no significant increase in employee absences at schools yesterday. It is somewhat ironic from an outsider looking in. The school system reporting 760 total employee absences yesterday, saying that number is not out of the ordinary because according to Superintendent Cito Narcisse, they recently averaged around 762 absences of staff per day. According to Superintendent Narcisse, those absences can be attributed to the current flu season and, of course, the surge in coronavirus cases, saying, quote, "We're committed to providing a high-quality education for our students while continuing to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 in all of our schools. We've taken proactive measures throughout the course of the pandemic to mitigate the spread through continued masking, weekly mandatory staff testing, deep cleaning and sanitation, vaccine and booster clinics. We've continued to keep the lines of communication open to all of our organization, educators, unions, and associations, and have been able to hear and address the concerns of those willing to speak with myself and executive staff." It is a situation that we obviously are going to be dealing with for a while, and hopefully the powers that be, the respective educator institutions and the school system can come to grips with this and find themselves reaching that, quote, common ground for the best of all that's involved. Meanwhile, the Louisiana Department of Health yesterday joining others around the nation in admitting that they have not been tracking what we call incidental COVID hospitalizations. I shared with you just yesterday that New York City reporting this week that as many as half or more of the individuals that they classify as a COVID hospitalization were actually in the hospital for something else. You heard me right. It's one thing to tell people we have a certain percentage, you fill in the blank here, increase in COVID cases, but it's something else altogether to neglect to tell us the severity of the cases and individuals that are hospitalized because of COVID as opposed to individuals hospitalized with COVID. Our state, unfortunately, is one of those that does not track, again, what's called incidental cases, meaning you're involved in an automobile accident, break a major bone in the body, to say the femur, just for the sake of, and yes, I did pay attention in human anatomy class. You break the femur, so they need to put you in the hospital until they can put a cast on, observe you for a couple of days, be sure everything's okay, send you on your way. While you're in the hospital for the broken leg, you're tested for COVID. You have COVID, you found out, no symptoms, but you're in the hospital and you have COVID, so we count that as a COVID hospitalization. Now listen, y'all, I get erring on the side of caution. I understand that. And I understand wanting people to understand the severity of what we're talking about here. But in the famous line from the old television series Dragnet, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Give me the facts, let me figure out the truth for myself. Because inevitably, what ends up happening is an ever-growing mistrust of what government, and more particularly government agencies, are telling us. I had an individual not so very long ago in a random conversation talking about how in their household they are now quarantining individuals who have not received the COVID shot from those who have received it. And it was an interesting conversation in that I posed the question, well, if you have the shot, which you have, you've recently obtained the booster, then why are you afraid of catching it from someone who hasn't? You are, quote, fully protected, right? They couldn't answer it. And I will be the first to admit, never attended med school, although I do have a sibling that is a transplant surgeon. I am not an immunologist or a virologist. But when I look at what you're telling me and look at what the reality is, it makes you wonder, particularly when you're talking about a virus that has this overwhelming chance that if I get it, I won't even know I had it, won't have any symptoms. If I get it, there's an overwhelming chance that I'm going to survive unless I am saddled with any number of existing comorbidities. Then find out that the new variant, Omicron, that the media is running rampant with hysteria-laden stories, when we find out that strain is actually milder than the others we've encountered so far, I start to question the validity of everything you tell me. If government and those with whatever other agenda are truly serious about getting individuals to go along with what their recommendations are, you've got to be honest with people. It is one of the reasons that I no longer pay a lot of attention to, quote, COVID cases. Again, in New York, half of those counted as COVID hospitalizations were actually in the hospital for something else. They just happened to be tested while being hospitalized for something else, find out there's COVID in the system. Oh, so that's a COVID hospitalization. Listen, all of us want to get this in the rearview mirror as soon as possible. All of us want to take the necessary steps to protect ourselves and others. But we can only do this when we are given accurate, factual information. Now, I know what my conservative brethren and sisters are saying right now. Clarence, you know that doesn't fit the narrative. And you're right. You're exactly right. But at the end of the day, that will be what that will be. But don't tell me one thing alluding to the fact that this is what we're trying to accomplish when the numbers tell us something else entirely. At the end of the day, liberals aside, the American public is still a smart group of folks, and we are able to discern fact from fiction. The problem becomes after we consume so much fiction for a while, we don't believe anything you have to say. And that, my friends, is something that Americans deserve better as far as that is concerned. Not the first time folks have lied to us about whatever, probably won't be the last time, which is why, my friends, my fellow Americans, it is so important that you don't just take these folks' word for things. Do your due diligence. Do your own research. Do your homework. Find out what they are telling you, and more important, what they aren't telling you. Now, all that being said, no word from LDH, the Louisiana Department of Health, if they plan to start tracking and or reporting the incidental hospitalizations. Without it, you can't give me an accurate picture of what's truly going on. And as a result, I am not able to adequately protect myself from what's going on. 1 and 1 is still 2, despite what some in education circles would have you believe. Just give me the truth and let me make up my own mind. I don't think that's an unreasonable request. Just saying. First break of today's show. We'll get her done and come back and talk about, yep, it's happened again. When are these people going to learn? That's next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, as we get older in life, the old adage, if you live long enough, you'll see everything, comes into play. In recent memory, we have seen with increasing regularity individuals entrusted with educating our children succumbing to their individual sexual desires. We've seen an uptick in more teachers, both male and female, being accused of improper sexual conduct with children. In St. James Parish this week, the latest incident occurred. 50-year-old Lisa Samuels, and this is, by the way, reading from the website of the ABC affiliate here in Baton Rouge, WBRZ News 2. Lisa Samuels was first arrested by the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office on DWI charges and transferred to St. James Parish, where she's charged with molestation of a juvenile and indecent behavior with juveniles. In this case, 50-year-old teacher Lisa Samuels is accused of an improper sexual relationship with the victim under 13 years of age. According to law enforcement officials, the department was notified about the case through a hotline abuse phone line. The managers taking the call from the sexual abuse hotline then referred the case to law enforcement, who investigated and then ended up lodging the charges. According to law enforcement, quote, whenever you deal with something like this young of a student who did not reveal what happened right away, we always have concerns about how long this could have been going on. You have to assume there could be more victims. I don't know if there are, but this investigation is in progress. I can't begin to imagine what it's like being a parent of a middle school child these days. Thank God the only one I have is in her 30s now, and we don't have to entertain things like this. Now listen, I get it. I understand. Clarence, you got to realize with social media, with COVID, with remote learning, with all this stuff going on, it's impossible to keep tabs on everything my child is doing. I understand that. But at the end of the day, that's your responsibility. It's your duty. It's your obligation. And far be it from me to even entertain the thought of knowing what's going on in that child's household, where the child obviously was not comfortable going to their parents to talk about this situation, and instead ended up calling a sex abuse hotline. Imagine if that child didn't know about that hotline and then just decided to internalize this situation. Again, I have no clue whatsoever what the home life is of this young person that was victimized by this 50-year-old educator. And I use that term loosely. At the end of the day, there's still the presumption of innocence. One of the things we cling to in this country. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty. But in our state, we've seen this happen with more frequency than any of us should be comfortable with. Now listen, I ain't no Pollyanna, y'all. I get it. Clarence, you know this has been going on for years. It just hadn't been exposed as much. And you would be right in that regard. But at the end of the day, it says to me that one of two things is happening. Either these teachers feel that they're smarter than everybody else, they can pull it off, and nobody else will ever be the wiser, or our kids are of the opinion that it's okay. Neither is acceptable. Neither should be acceptable. And say what you will about how long this has been going on. Say what you will about, Clarence, you got to understand human nature. Say what you will about all of that. At the end of the day, this is still a 50-year-old and a juvenile under the age of 13. If that in and of itself weren't bad enough, it is still an individual in a position of trust. The parents of the students in this person's class entrusted this teacher with the future of their most precious resource, their child. And that trust that was betrayed horribly. For those parents, you may not be able to ever regain it. As a tax-paying citizen and a parent, you deserve better than that. You truly do. And I would say, but experience has taught me better, particularly in recent memory, I would say, hopefully, this will be an example to other teachers that may be considering doing the same thing, and this will squash all of that. I would say that, except I'm a realist, and based on past experience, the old BPE factor, I doubt it sincerely. So in the meantime, parents, all you can do is talk to your kids. All you can do is foster an environment where your children will feel comfortable, regardless of how uncomfortable the situation may be, they still feel comfortable enough to come to you and talk to you about it. Sadly, if you were to ask the parents of this 13-year-old, and let me, as an addendum, say this is purely speculative on my part. If you were to ask the parents of this child that called a sex abuse hotline to report sexual molestation by their teacher, the parents would probably tell you, I had no idea this was going on. I saw what I thought may have been some changes, but I just thought it was, what children do when they become teenagers, they change. You got to talk with them, y'all. And you've got to let them know in no uncertain terms. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. I don't care how ugly the situation may be. There's absolutely nothing that you cannot come to me and talk to me about. I know a lot of y'all so busy being your child's friend that you either never took the time to learn or have forgotten what it means to be a parent. Then again, maybe that's a big part of the problem. I'm going to venture a guess. Back in my day, growing up as a boomer, aside from teachers having respect for themselves and their students, they also understood, if I do this, I may have to deal with the parents. And in the words of the great philosopher, Homie the Clown, they don't play that. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think I want to be around to have to deal with the wrath of this kid's parents if it's found out I'm doing what I'm doing. Now, say what you will about old-fashioned, outmoded, outdated, but it should say something to us that now all of a sudden, every time we look up, there's another case of it happening. I will leave to you to decide where the finger of blame should fall. I just hope that when the next case rolls around, that it is not because it involved a child that did not have a good enough relationship with his or her parents to talk to them about it before it became a horrific incident. We owe them that much, y'all. Don't get it twisted. We owe them a heck of a lot more, but at a minimum, we owe them that much. Bottom of the hour break. We'll get this out of the way. When we come back, before you get completely, totally inundated by it, I want you to see the hypocrisy in action of what some folks are going to be preaching to you about today. We'll talk about that when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
You've waited, and now Toyotathon is here at Team Toyota. Every new Toyota's on sale with end-of-year savings. And with our Buy Here, Sell Here program, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade. The selection and savings are right here for you at Team Toyota, I-12 and O'Neill.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Freej Jr., and I am a general dentist at Freej Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, as Americans, when it comes to our government, whether it is local, state, and or national, one of the things that perturbs us more so than anything else is hypocrisy. Saying one thing, doing something else. For many Americans, it is the equivalent of being a fake. And I don't have to tell you how we all feel about individuals that say one thing but do something else, particularly in pursuit of a political agenda. You're going to hear this week, and you've already seen it, you've heard it for God knows how long, how Congress needs to do away with the filibuster. It's arcane, it's ancient, it's racist, the whole nine. And in their push to federalize elections, giving the federal government control over all elections, they are going to attempt to convince you that the filibuster needs to be changed. April of 2017, 61 senators from both parties wrote a letter to then Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, asking them to, quote, join us in opposing any effort to curtail the existing rights and prerogatives of the senators to engage in full, robust, and extended debate as we consider legislation before this body in the future. In other words, 61 senators sent this letter asking that you join us in protecting the filibuster. Of the 26 Democrats who signed that letter, the vast majority of them now all of a sudden think 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Imagine that, right? For example, let's start with Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat, Minnesota. February 2017, she said, quote, when you look at the past, when Democrats were in charge, we were concerned. Well, what if Republicans are in charge? Let's keep the 60-vote threshold in place. It's been a long-standing precedent. Both of the president's nominees got over 60 votes. That's the threshold. That was 2017. March 2021 changed the tune completely. Quote, we should get rid of the filibuster. And I have favored filibuster reform for a long time. 4 years prior to that, you were of the exact opposite opinion. All right? So, bring up Senator Cory Booker, one of the biggest mouths in America when it comes to voting rights. Cory Booker, January 2019, quote, we should not be doing anything to mess with the strength of the filibuster. It's one of the distinguishing factors of this body, and I think it's good to have the power of the filibuster. Okay? Again, that was January 2019. Now, quote, Cory Booker says, for the sake of our vulnerable populations, the filibuster has to be reformed. Huh. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Senator Kirsten, Gillibrand, Democrat, New York, January 2019, quote, if you don't have 60 votes yet, it just means you haven't done enough work, and you need to work a lot harder. January 2021, same person, quote, I'm of the view that we should eliminate the filibuster despite all the risks. Huh. Senator Bob Casey, Democrat, Pennsylvania, signed the letter that we told you about at the top of this segment. Now, move forward to March 2021. Quote, major changes to the filibuster for someone like me would not have been on the agenda even a few years ago. But the Senate doesn't work like it used to, although he would never say when the Senate stopped working. Okay? You're going to love this one. Well, it's pretty much just like all the rest of them. You say one thing now, and then when it's expedient politically, you say something else. Senator Ed Markey, or better yet, Senator Brian Schatz, Democrat, Hawaii. The filibuster, this is a quote, helps prevent rushed garbage legislation, meaning if we have the filibuster, they can't push through legislation that we all know is garbage. Okay? February 2021 turns around after saying, we need the filibuster to be sure we don't get that garbage rushed through legislation. 2 years later, he says the filibuster is, quote, stupid and paralyzing. Wow. Wow. And it doesn't stop there. Senator Mazie Hirono, Democrat, Hawaii, after signing the letter in 2017, said, quote, the filibuster is supposed to protect the voices of minorities. We're in the minority, Democrats. I don't think our voices are being protected. So I'm open to that discussion. Huh. So what did she say 2 years later? I'm glad you posed that question. Quote, I'm open for the conversation about changing the filibuster. It's racist. Thank you, Marty. It's racist. These people are sickening. And yeah, I said it. These people, those folk. Yeah, I said it. Them. I said it. If the shoe fits, when you put the shoe on, there's a room full of people. One of the houses where, if you don't mind, take your shoes off. We don't wear shoes indoors. Okay, not a problem. Everybody takes their shoes off. When they get ready to leave, everybody's putting their shoes back on. One person hollers, ow. You kind of automatically know who's suffering from bunions or ingrown toenails by the way they holler. As one of my illustrious former pastors used to say, when you throw a rock in the yard, it's only the hit dog that hollers. Some of y'all ain't gonna get that till later, but that's okay, long as you get it. When you throw a rock in the yard, it's only the hit dog that hollers. Only one that's gonna holler is the one that the rock hit. You are going to hear this incessantly. But you know what's ironic? The same individuals that want to do away with the filibuster, the majority of them are the same folks that when it comes to a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate will require you to show picture ID. Well, I see here it says this person was vaccinated, but how do I know you're that person? I need a picture ID. But wait a minute now, to vote, even though the group that you claiming you protecting, black folk, because they can't get IDs, over 70% of black people said, oh no, bruh, you got to have a picture ID to vote. How else are we gonna know that you are who you say you are? Duh. But they will have you believe, if you're stupid enough to swallow it, that they're doing it to protect your interests. Remember how I admonished you, my fellow Americans who happen to vote Democrat, to be aware of what these folks are doing in your name? Remember that? See, a lot of y'all don't realize, well, I vote Democrat because I've always voted. They're the party for the people. They're for the middle class. What's happening to the middle class? What's happening to black folks? What's happening to the social and moral fabric of this country? And they're doing it in your name. Well, Clarence, I didn't give them the my permission to do that. They did it because they're Democrats and you voted for them. When you got the media in your pocket, you got a bunch of folk pursuing an agenda, they really don't care what you think. Yeah, 70% of black people think it's not racist to have voter ID, it's just common sense. But they still push the narrative that it's racist. Now, if 70% of black folk don't think it's racist and they're still saying it's racist, you know what that says to me? They don't give a damn what you think. They're going to do what they do. And they're going to do it in your name. Sucker. And you're still voting Democrat, huh? Imagine that. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done. Come back, wrap up that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and finish today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club. a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreysstoneCountryClub.com.
The Post on Church Point Road in Gonzales would like to invite everyone to their newly renovated events hall, a beautiful 9,600 square foot facility that features a 5,500 square foot main hall and a separate 600 square foot conference room. Renters have access to our huge kitchen, large stage, tables, chairs, bar, and covered outdoor cooking. So plan your next wedding, party, conference, and more at The Post on Church Point Road, Gonzales.
Tremonti's has meat, Tremonti's has seafood, Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters, huge wine and liquor selection, beer and all the spices you need, Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats, ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs, 20 flavors of sausage for the grill, daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. I guess I would, among others, headline our final segment, the Limbo Segment. Young people watching right now, you're going to have to ask your parents what the limbo is. It was a dance craze back in the day involving two people holding a bar, and you had to bend your back to get under the bar. And after every round, the bar would get lower and lower and lower. And in the song that was written, that sparked the whole craze, they would ask, how low can you go? Well, Joe Biden's approval numbers now are epitomized by the limbo. How low can you go, Joe? Real low. The latest approval numbers show Joe Biden with a 33% approval rating. In other words, 53% disapprove of the job he's doing. You mean to tell me, Marty, there's 33% of people in this country, that's almost a third, that think this clown's administration is doing a good job? That's a different show for a different day. Oh, that's the government employees. There you go. Okay. Yeah, now we got it. 33% approve, 53% disapprove. But it's worse among independents. Only 24% of independents say this administration's doing a good job. Among Hispanics, only 28% say this guy's doing a good job. His numbers are cratering across the board. For example, on the economy, only 34% of the people polled approve of the job he's doing. Foreign policy, only 35%. Of course, Ukraine, no Russian collusion. mind you. The Afghanistan withdrawal, no big surprise there. Response to the coronavirus, 55% disapprove, only 39 approve. While it is proof positive of what we tried to tell y'all over and over and over again leading up to this most recent presidential election. We tried to tell you, but you just wouldn't listen. Now we're stuck seeing how low can you go. You know what may be scariest of all out of this? Now, rest assured, if we are where we are right now, with crime, the border, inflation, COVID, foreign relations, just fill out the rest of the list. How scary a proposition is it to entertain how much worse it can get? But what may be scariest of all is the speed with which this administration screwed this country up. In a year's time, and listen, I understand, well, Clarence, you got to realize COVID was something unprecedented and, you know, it made a big difference. I get all that. I get all that. But in 1 year, y'all, in 1 year, it makes you wonder how many God help us prayers we need to send up for the remaining 3 years. You know what's really telling? I told you that the left, Democrats, the Biden-Harris administration, is making this huge push to convince Americans that the right to vote and voting integrity is at stake. The conservatives, the Republicans, they want to take away your right to vote. If we don't stop these people, it will forever change our democracy. You're going to hear this crap over and over and over again. You know what's telling? This week, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris went to the great state of Georgia. Do they officially call themselves the Peach State? I think that's their moniker, the Peach State. They're national champs, though. Yeah, okay, they replaced that for the time being. If they lose next year, they'll go back to being the Peach State. But Stacey Abrams, loudmouth liberal that she is, for the last 2 years has been railing on voting integrity. How those evil conservatives, the racists that they are trying everything within their power to stop black people from voting. I'm going to have to do a show one day inviting black people who have been denied the right to vote, and when they go to vote, there are white people standing looking at them like this. You here to vote? Oh, no, like this. You're right, Martin. It would be a real short show. It'd go by like that. But I digress. Stacey Abrams has been telling anyone who would listen over the last 2 years how racist, how evil, how we've got to make sure we maintain the integrity of the voting system. So the leader of the free world and the second most powerful person on the planet go to her home state in her home city to talk about what? Voting integrity. Where was Stacey Abrams? That's rhetorical. We know the answer. She was hiding. She don't want to be seen with these clowns on her pet issue. She is the one who has been incessantly railing about voter integrity. And when the leader of the free world comes to your city to talk about the exact same thing, you are nowhere to be found. So the media said, y'all smell that? Something don't smell right. Something stinks with this. We need to ask her, what happened? Why weren't you there? You know what her campaign said? Well, we had a scheduling difficulty. So wait a minute. Wait. Back up the bus. Back the bus up. The leader of the free world, the second most powerful person on the planet, are coming to your city to talk about your pet issue that you have been railing on for months and months and months and months and months. And you couldn't adjust your schedule to be there with the leader of the free world? I don't know about you. I can't speak for you. But you know what that says to me? Either, one, like most of us, I don't know what that fool might say. I don't want to be there when something stupid comes out of Joe Biden's mouth. Or it wasn't that big a deal to start with. Like I said, I'm going to do a show inviting any black person in America to call in, email, come sit on this set if you have had white folk try to stop you from voting. Like I say, that's going to be a real quick show. You know why? Because there aren't any. Contrary to what Stacey Abrams and Joe Biden would have you believe. Time's up, and I'm going to do this one real quick. This day, just like any other, I give it to you. You know what, you're right. America, we ain't perfect, but for this old boy's money, it's the best there is, and God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care. God bless. Yeah.